Create a form primitive. In this video, we'll create a form, create a box primitive, and explore primitive creation options. In Fusion 360, we want to get started with a new untitled document. We're going to begin by selecting Create Form, and we want to explore how to create primitives. We've already taken a look at how to use a sketch and create a revolved form body. But the most common workflow is to select one of the primitives to start your geometry creation. Most commonly, we'll use either a box, a cylinder, or a sphere. There are many other reasons why you might select things like pipes, quad balls, or even creating a plane or a face. But for this example, we're going to start with a box. When we select a box, the first thing we need to do is select a plane, and then we'll be creating a rectangle. This can either be a center point rectangle or a 2-point. Once we begin to define it, you'll note that we have dimensions on the screen, and we can manually enter values, or we can simply skip that step. As soon as we hit enter on the keyboard, it's going to accept the box primitive creation. Now, this is a step that we want to be very careful on if we have to define the box primitive or any of the other primitives very specifically. Let's try this again. If we start a box primitive, this time I'm going to select a different plane. As soon as I click for those dimensions instead of hitting enter, I'm prompted with a new box creation dialog. This allows me to adjust things like the thickness, the overall size in all directions, and the number of divisions that we have in each of these different directions. Doing this at the start of a design is extremely important because we cannot get back to this box creation dialog. We can, of course, subdivide or remove edges later on. That's not a problem, but it's much easier for us to define it now and then make the small changes later. Once we say OK, now we have two subdivided T-spline bodies. These are both created using the box primitive, but they're very different. We have a large number of divisions on one and a small number on the other. Both can still be modified in the same manner. However, again, it is important that we start the process off by understanding the end goal. I'm going to select Body 2 and hit Delete on the keyboard as we're going to be focusing on this box primitive only. The size and shape of the box primitive doesn't really matter at this point, but using the standard settings for the number of divisions and not having symmetry will help follow along with the process. We're going to stay inside of the form workspace, but let's go ahead and save this as box primitive before moving on to the next step.